what Wise did wrong and does it matter, and some changes to subscriptions in the App Store. This is Mac Voices. Mac Voices is supported by ZocDoc. Find local doctors who take your insurance. Learn more at ZocDoc.com/MacVoices. Welcome to Mac Voices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is another one of those Mac Voices live shows that I missed because of some travel. This time, though, the panel takes on some new topics, among them the Wise camera debacle, and also some changes that are coming to the App Store that may make a difference to your subscriptions. Let's go back and let the panel do the talking.
All right, we're going to move on to the next topic, Wise. This was a kind of a surprising thing to find out about this past week. I was referring to the article in The Verge, and the author said, "I'm done with Wise. Wise knew hackers could remotely access your camera for 3 years and did nothing and said nothing." First off, this Wise camera is about 3 years old. They said it was it's actually end of life. They're not going to be updating it anymore, which makes it even worse. And a lot of chatter was going on here about this, and why Wise Cam didn't even do anything about the version 1 camera. Even research firm Bitdefender actually shed some light on this, to why Wise stopped selling it. And they quietly stopped selling it because they didn't want to update it. Kelly, I'll give you the first word. What do you think of this, and why this happened?
I think part of the issue is we've seen this before. It was, somebody might have to remind me, I think it was Dropcam that was like an inexpensive camera, and you could see it online, and it seemed reasonably successful as its own product. And apparently Google agreed. Google bought it, killed everybody's Dropcam, like pulled the servers that all the video was stored on, yanked them all, and went, "Here, have a Google Home camera instead for free, because we bought Dropcam and now you can't have one anymore." So it's one of those things where you sort of have to take everything with a grain of salt. Like I've had the same issue with smart home stuff in my house. I have a wide variety of things from a wide variety of companies in my house, depending on what they are. And, can I change the admin password? And there are things I haven't purchased because I've seen their security policy is sketchy, or,
non-existent.
Or if they have one, that is on my checklist. Is there one? Is it readable? Can you tell what's happening? And there have been issues in the past with different things like this. And so I think this is, if nothing else, if you're not a Wise customer, obviously most people are going to start now. But additionally, this is the kind of thing you have to think about when you are hooking things up to your home that can be remotely accessed. And, what kind of security do they have behind it? Like one of the cameras, I was going to buy some cameras for my house, did not buy these cameras because I saw a bunch of reports of people saying they're all checking in with these IP addresses. I don't remember what they were. And it turned out these are all DNS servers in China. And I emailed the company and said, when I block these servers, my cameras quit connecting. And they're like, yeah, we need them. And they're like, why? It's DNS. I should be able to point at anything, publicly available DNS server. And they were like, it's DNS and you need it. And so like after a few rounds of sort of not getting anything else, was like, no, box them up, send them back, because you're pinging a server in China that you don't need and you won't tell me why, and I can't change it. So things like that are really important. So hopefully for most people, this is just sort of an opportunity to review the things that you have. And, do you have the default admin password set on the router that lets everybody into your home network? And do you have, the most basic levels of security on some of that stuff? Like Jeff and I have had this conversation in various formats throughout the ages for, what do you want to have on your network? How much control do you have over it when it's on your network? And what sort of control can someone else get if they were to able to access that device? So it's a whole lot of
bad things.
It's a whole lot of bad optics for Wise in the first place. And partly also I'm disappointed because they had been a contender. for additional cameras around my house, because I'm like, I know a couple of people who have these, are very happy with them. They seem to work well. And, it's also just, since this is Mac Voices, it's another feather in the cap of HomeKit Secure Video, because it's working directly. And as long as you can have enough faith in Apple, and since as of now, it's still not Apple's business model, I'm going to channel my inner Brian Chaffin here for a minute. As of now, it is not Apple's business model to make money off your data. They care that they can sell you the hardware and that they can sell you services. And the way that they do that is by not caring about the personal information that you are carrying around on said devices or in said services. And as a result, right now, if I were to buy a camera, HomeKit Secure Video would be the thing. And there are many HomeKit Secure Video options if you want them. And there are many that are also not expensive. So at least at this point, there are alternatives out there. Previously, whenever there's been a security breach like this, it's sort of been, well, what am I supposed to do? There's not an alternative solution for the thing that I now have, that I have to take off my network because there's a giant security hole now. I have to figure out how to fix it.
Right.
But that's the absolute worst part of it, though, is that for most people, they've never been able to figure out that these devices are being manufactured in China, and the companies that are manufacturing these devices, for the most part, are under the control of the Chinese government. And it is in the Chinese government's best interest to get as many smart devices as they can into as many homes as they can, because that opens up a whole can of worms into everybody else's network. Mm-hmm. So it's not a surprise that, and this isn't even the first time that this has happened. Every single time.
Can I just say,
Warren, stop.
Yeah.
When you have devices like this and they've tunneled into your network, then you're leaving yourself open. This isn't the first time it's happened. It's not going to be the last time that it happened.
Exactly.
I'm just curious of what the attack is. And I'm not saying that I don't know. What's the attack? Let's say there is some kind of, let's say my cameras are pinging China on DNS, which they are. Okay. And I believe that. What's the weakness? What's going on? What should I worry about?
China.
You should worry that.
Are they watching?
You don't know.
I haven't cracked open any of the packet data and read what it is that they're transmitting, but it's possible it could be the location of the camera, the time zone it's in, the exact, lat long of where it is. It could be the name of the network it's attached to. It could be the internet service provider. It could be all manner of things if it's an IP connected device on the internet that is sending packets of data to
through your
remote location through your network.
I'm just wondering what they're pictures or the videos or
what are they don't know?
Right, what are they going to do in China? I mean,
they could attack other devices on your network.
So I understand a hack through getting bank websites and things like that through computers, but this is just a smart device on your network.
If they can tunnel into your network, think about how many people all over the world right now are working from home. So all of the data that would normally be on a relatively secure network where they work in an office is now being transmitted over regular internet pipes through whatever, some of it encrypted, maybe some of it not encrypted. And this is all now potentially exposed for people to do with whatever they please.
Whatever they please.
Data is king.
Frank, you've been quiet. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't trust humans as far as you can throw them. There isn't a thing a human can do that'll surprise.
I don't think you could throw me very far.
Yeah, that's true. Okay,
I got news about your trust level, guy.
I'll drive them, but no, the human. I really don't like granted, the whole thing with the work at home and all the secrets and stuff was I think what Warren was trying to get at, and I don't like, is the invasion of your privacy. I mean, that's why I have blinds on my windows. Stuff like that. That's why I don't have a speaker on the outside of the door listening to me mumble or curse or whatever I'd say at any minute of the day. It's nobody's business.
Well, and the thing here is that it's twofold. Because it could be a hardware attack. If somebody remotely has access to a device on the inside of your network, then they could potentially use that to gain access to other devices on your network. So yeah, right now, maybe all you have is access to a DVD player that has a bad security setup on it, or one of these cameras. And so all you can do is get into the device. But once you're into the device, you can take that device and you can start pinging to see what other IP addresses are listed there. And then once you've got an IP address, sometimes you can get a MAC address, and then you can find out this is a computer, this is a printer, this is another computer, this is another camera on it, like at least the type, right? And then, okay, I figured out that one's the router. So I'm gonna try and log into that IP address, and I'm going to start with admin, and then I'm going to go administrator, admin, and then I'm going to go administrator. Oh, look, I'm in. And now I have access to your router, and I can do everything I need to do in order to make your life a living hell. And that's just the one way is hardware. Like somebody could gain access to hardware in your house on your network. The other is the data. Maybe it's the pictures, maybe it's the streaming video, maybe it's the metadata about, it turns out the lights are off from this time to that time every day or whatever. I mean, think about all the stuff, all of the information that Google has on everyone who bought a Nest. This is when they're set to away. This is when they're set to home. This is what they like when, this is the temperatures that people like when they are home. These are the temperatures they like when they're asleep. These are the temperatures they like when they're awake, because you set modes on the thermostat, like sleep and home and away and vacation. And now Warren is going to move to Montana and churn butter.
Yeah, Jeff, you've been quiet. You have to have some thoughts on this.
I was never here.
Of course, I have thoughts. And I'll start with Warren. I'm looking forward to reading the manifesto you write on a manual typewriter. Okay, I have a few Wyze cameras, and so I've been watching this whole news thing with with the revelation that there's a security flaw and it took a long time to fix. And yes, Wyze is in the wrong because they failed to communicate clearly, and they were slower than they should have been at releasing patches. And I feel like for the type of security flaws that they're talking about, even though the version 1 camera was no longer supported, they should have gone ahead and rolled out a security patch for that camera too. That said, to the best of my knowledge, there have not been any exploits of the security flaws on these cameras, and the sensationalized news coverage of this, it will be forgotten in a week, right. And this is not going to impact their sales at all. And knowing full well that this is a thing and it's something that I've been following closely, the only reason I wouldn't buy another Wyze camera if I decided I needed to get another camera for my place would be because there's something that that's out at a price point that I like, that has the features that I want, and it's better than getting another Wyze camera. Otherwise, maybe end up getting another one. Who knows? I mean, they're cheap and they have good lenses, and and they work well. At the same time, holy crap, they need to ramp up their customer service, because this is an ongoing complaint. Their customer service is always getting hammered for not being good enough. And if you're in the Wyze Facebook group,
there's a lot of unhappy customers.
If you were to create a filter that would filter out the complaints about Wyze customer support, it would be a very, very quiet Facebook group.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is Wyze is going to go buy 10% of Facebook because free speech.
There you go. Yeah,
it's a good trend.
Yeah. So anyhow,
probably recommend not discontinuing the use of their version 1 camera. I would
yeah, I mean, yeah, if you have a version 1 Wyze camera, stop using it. And if you're pissed off that now you're out $19 for a camera that you bought camera. 5 years ago,
you might need to solve for a slightly different problem.
Right.
Yeah. It's two
Yeah.
lattes.
Yeah. On a side note, Wise is planning on adding HomeKit support. And while that will make some people feel like they now have a more secure camera, it just, for me, highlights the fact that there are no secure cameras out there, even the ones that are HomeKit only, because they're all using the same chips. And for the ones that are HomeKit only, they're just not writing the software that that adds in Echo and Google Home, but it's the same chip. So whatever vulnerability is there regardless of what platform you're using to control it.
This edition of Mac Voices is supported by ZocDoc. Find local doctors who take your insurance. Finding and booking a doctor who's right for you doesn't need to be a terrible experience. Will they take your insurance, understand your needs, or be available when you can see them? With ZocDoc, the answer can be a refreshingly pain-free yes to all of those. ZocDoc is a free app that shows you doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, and are available when you need them. Go to ZocDoc.com, choose a time slot, and whether you want to see the doctor in person or do a video visit. And just like that, you're booked. Find the doctor that's right for you and book an appointment that works for your schedule. Go to ZocDoc.com/MacVoices and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then start your search for a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc, ZocDoc.com/MacVoices. ZocDoc.com/MacVoices. Thanks to ZocDoc for supporting Mac Voices.
I just added the Google Nest video doorbell, and I mean, it's, you still have to question whether some security. Of course, they want you to buy the Nest Advanced so that you can get all the videos and be able to store that stuff. It's like, I don't need to pay for that, and so the videos disappear after a day. I mean, that's all I need. But you are going to get, obviously people want to have those types of video recordings because of potential theft, potential security outside the door. But you're right. There are a lot of these have the same type of chip anyway, so they're all going to be vulnerable in one way or the other.
Just real fast, once you put a video device or a camera or a speaker that's connected to the internet in your house, you have no expectations that somebody may not be able to get to this. I mean,
I was taught that in college and film school. They said if you're shooting in the public, you have no real expectation of privacy if it's a general crowd.
I don't care if it's HomeKit or something from China. There's always going to be a possibility that data went the wrong way in the wrong place, and we're seeing that from even best companies now. Hell, we saw it last week from a company that's supposed to be part of the security key, which was Okta. So I mean, there's if you can't trust it. I would never put my life to say that Apple or any other company is never going to have a problem or leak data or something like that. Odds are better, and that's why we go with them. But if you put something that has a speaker, a camera, or any kind of like recording device in your house, it could happen, no matter who you use.
Okay.
I think we should do Twitch live streams from a Ring camera.
Let's all go hang out on Dave's porch, and
I gotta go out to my porch here and
all right,
and be able to go watch what's going on in front of my front door. Right. The camera is pretty awesome, though. It does have a pretty good view here.
Hey,
Brittany,
we're almost done. Brittany Spitz. It's been a long time. Hi,
I'm about to sign
out.
How's it going?
We'll let Brittany drive.
Hey, you need to keep talking for a while. I mean, I thought this was Mac Voices Live.
It is. We're just getting
you all over time.
We're all going to go do a live stream from David's new Ring camera doorbell. So we're all going to go stand on
Twitch.
Porch and do it on Twitch.
On Twitch.
Okay, cool. I'll be right there.
In Chicago.
In Chicago.
We'll go for pizza after. It'll be great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What's the name of that place, Dave?
Lou Malnati's.
Yeah.
Lou Malnati's. Even I know Lou Malnati's.
Call them ahead. Go online and order a couple of pies.
Anything else we want to talk about that until we move on to the next topic here? All right, let's go ahead. Jeff shared this story. If you want to kind of lead with this about the Apple Pilot tests feature that allows developers to automatically charge users for subscription price increases. What caught your eye on this one, Jeff?
All right. So I will come into this with a totally loaded statement. Hey, everyone, Apple figured out a great way to make in-app purchases less useful and valuable to you. And by that, I mean, there's a test program that Apple's doing right now that would allow developers who have in-app subscriptions to increase your subscription price where you are automatically opted in instead of the current system where you get an alert saying, hey, your, in this case, Disney Plus subscription rate is going to increase. Do you want to continue to have the subscription? And then you can agree or not. And if not, then when your billing cycle ends, then your subscription ends. But the way it is right now, it can just get bumped up and now you're paying a higher rate. And apparently some people have seen that their Disney Plus rate changed through Apple subscriptions. And the only reason they knew is because they happen to be looking at like their monthly credit card statement or their subscription info on on iCloud or whatever, and then they saw it. So apparently, this test program may get rolled out to additional developers, and that's a very vague thing. Apple is not offering up more information about that.
So it's going to work like cable bills and phone bills and everything else, where it goes up another $3 and it's not like you get the opportunity to opt in.
Right.
Okay.
Which sucks.
Which totally sucks. And it kills one of the great things about using Apple to pay subscriptions and manage subscriptions.
Because it sure isn't the interface, I'll tell you that.
Hey, at least there is one now. Just saying.
Sort of.
I mean,
Jim, you have any thoughts? Does this have any developer implications?
Well, it's just also vague. I was kind of surprised when I saw that on the Slack, and I was like, really? And I read the article, and I'm sort of left like, oh, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't sound like a good thing, but as Kelly said, lots of companies deal in not good ways, and certain, Apple's not exempt from that. But it's not clear to me, if this is really going to roll out to anyone besides Disney or not, or is it going to be like just Disney S-size companies? There's a lot of things about the App Store that I wish Apple would clamp down on, and this is potentially another one. But
clamp down on, reinforce, whatever.
Yeah,
tomato.
I've heard it both ways.
Either. I don't think they should allow weekly subscriptions, for example. I don't think there's any case for that other than scams.
I'm with you on that. Weekly subscriptions, bad idea.
Yeah, that could get costly.
And this, I have lots of other thoughts about this, but this does actually have even more potential for scams than legitimate companies who might change their prices really aggressively after the fact and rely on people not really checking their email.
Did you say Comcast?
I could have very easily.
Or
again, I've heard it both ways.
Comcrap.
People do that
I call
with
them
credit
things
cards
we'll
too.
say for after dark.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Give me initials.
Remember what I told Warren earlier about George Carlin's 7 dirty words?
Oh, yeah. That's a great, okay.
Yeah.
You can do the whole bit?
All
No.
now,
Chuck,
please.
Chuck would
Stop
be
it.
really
Talking
happy
about
with
Bill-
that.
We're talking
No, I
about
mean
billing.
after dark.
Go
We're
ahead,
talking
Guy.
about billing. And yeah.
Montana.
I think the issue with this is going to be the issue with a lot of things that sort of make the consumer side, consumers in general, sort of nervous about things like this. And that is what kind of communication we get about it when it rolls out, and what kind of options we have. Like, okay, so you're saying you're going to opt people into whatever their subscription rates are automatically. Like, okay, but do I have an option to make that no? And then I get alerted somehow, or it's automatically canceled, or disabling auto renew is going to be even easier because I'm going to want to make sure that I'm only signing up for what I thought I was signing up for, every time it comes up. So it really depends on what comes out of this, aside from developers have the opportunity to change their prices. I'm done, Warren. You can stop playing piano now.
I listened to every word.
He's
It
got a
just,
wise cam.
No, it helps me think. I don't have any thoughts, but speaking of developers, I downloaded and bought the thing that makes your Mac super bright today. Did you see the article for that?
Flashlight?
No,
No.
it's for the 14 and 16-inch Macs and the new
It's a
studio.
lamp.
Blind
It's,
to Rooney.
Jim,
It's supposed to make the screen smart. So how is it?
it's
What's it
nice.
called?
So it's I'll look it up, but it was in Mac one of the Mac places today. But it basically
Ramalama ding dong.
it basically unlocks the Mac's potential to go brighter, because when you watch evidently HDR movies on the 14 and 16-inch MacBook, it goes really bright and HDR like. So what this does is kind of like trick it to allow you to do it. So the first, and it was $16, €15 or something like that. So
Vivid.
Vivid sounds about right. So yeah, that's what I got. So at first I'm like, so what it does is basically you get a preview of it, and it splits the screen and it tells you this is normal, this is what you're going to get. So you kind of know what you're going to get before you buy it. And it's bright. Yeah, it's like super bright, almost like where like if it's in a sort of a dark room, then like it, the wife starts to look at me funny. It's really bright. So but they say it's not good for your battery, which is fine. I'm usually plugged in. So between that and the new drops that you can put in your eyes to make you be able to see without the reading glasses. Did you see that yesterday?
Like
there's-
Clockwork Orange.
These are eye drops that will allow you to, for people who need reading glasses, and they're eye drops that will replace the reading glasses. And you get, for $80, you get 30 days of a bottle. And basically that's my life. I'm gonna have a bright screen, and I'm not gonna need reading glasses, and
You're so bright.
and it's gonna be a party. I'll show you. I'll link the product.
This Mac Voices Live panel is back in the next edition of Mac Voices to take on even more topics, including the anniversary of the quote-unquote trash can Mac Pro and Plex's new universal search. That's next time on Mac Voices, and I hope you'll join us. Until then, and as always, I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.